Welcome to episode 217 of the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. This one's for you if you've got ideas in mind. Maybe you want to start a podcast. Maybe you want to write a book, but you're worried about not being special enough. You ask yourself, who am I to do this? There are lots of people who are more talented, who have more original stories to tell. And so before you even give this secret dream of yours a real try, you get discouraged. Then what happens is that you kind of get bored with your life. And I don't want you to get old, look back, and be disappointed about all the things you could have tried. So in this episode, I'm giving you 5 ways to boost your confidence so that you start believing that it's worth it to give yourself and your ideas a chance. Now, while you listen to this, I'll be hiking in Norway. This episode is one that was recorded and aired in 2022, almost 3 years ago, but it's still so resonant. So if you've listened to it in the past, listen to it again. And if you have missed it, then you're in for a treat. Enjoy! Hey! Welcome to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. I'm your host, Marie, a courage coach, creative soul, and adventure seeker. Since through hiking the Pacific Crest Trail in 2019, I'm on a mission to help you embrace your most confident self so you can achieve your dreams too. If you're eager for deep conversations, big questions, and meaningful connections, join me on the quest to discovering how we can create a more magical and memorable life. Hello, nerds! How are you? I'm pretty good. Today I have a really exciting episode for you. 5 ways to boost your confidence. 5 ways to boost your confidence in a genuine way. So not like fake it till you make it kind of bullshit. No. I'm going to give you real ways to show up the way you want to show up. Show up as your real self when you're at work, when you're going on a date, when you're with friends, when you go to a networking event, so that you can come home and feel proud, not feel like you were making yourself small, okay? Before we jump into those 5 ways, I want to share something that I found with you. So I was going through old stuff and came upon notes that I had taken almost 3 years ago. The title is, If Your Biggest, Baddest, Boldest Dream Came True, ... And then I asked myself 2 questions. And I invite you to ask yourself those questions in your journal, because what I'm about to read, almost all of it came true for me. So I asked myself, that was 3 years ago, who would you be? So if your biggest, baddest, boldest dream came true, who would you be? I said, I'm a creative, kind, and colorful leader and entrepreneur who expresses herself in bold ways and connects deeply with those she encounters, helping them embrace their bravest self in a way that allows me to use my creativity and to be free. Like when I read this, my mind was blown. Because I feel like that's exactly what I get to do every day in my job, but also like I just came back from the coffee shop, and whenever I go to the coffee shop, I end up talking with the people who work there or like a stranger that I meet, and I find myself very often connecting deeply with the people in my community, and I love that. Okay, and the second question that I asked myself is, how would you spend your day? I made a list. So it reads, wake up when I choose, feeling clear. Wear colorful and comfortable clothes. Eat healthy, rarely have to cook, have delicious smoothies at the ready. We're not quite there yet. Spend time alone working on creative and inspiring projects. I do that all the time. All of my mornings are spent alone being creative. Okay, then I wrote, work with optimistic and driven people who believe in my vision and also have their own. So I think about my clients. All of my clients, they have their own vision and they wanted to work with me because they believed in mine. But the person that also comes to mind is Allison, my friend whom I partnered with for the program that we created, the Sapling Side Business Starter. She's an amazing, driven woman who's solution focused, who's always super open to trying new things, and exactly the kind of person that I want to create with. So this is amazing. Then I wrote, stand in the spotlight and inspire, connect with people I love and admire, be part of a kind community, work abroad for a week. And that's funny because next week I'm going to Phoenix. I'm going to Phoenix to work from there, but also going to a convention, a coaching convention, where I'm going to meet tons of people who are passionate about the same thing as I am. And then the last few things on the list, I love it. It says, go outside, read lots of books, aim high, feel light, love deeply. And I was moved to tears when I read that because it's so damn close to the reality I created that I live in now in just 3 years. The only thing that's missing is the delicious smoothies at the ready. And I wrote on the list, I rarely have to cook, which I love because my partner just came back. He used to work remotely, but he got a job really close to home and he loves to cook. So he does a lot of the cooking now that he's back. And I also have the financial freedom to go out to the restaurant more. So there's a really good restaurant around the corner from my house that makes the best Thai cocoa soup. And I try to go there once a week, like when I've had a big day. I just treat myself to a warm, delicious soup with some shrimps in it. Okay, so I definitely encourage you to make a list like this for yourself because number one, it's so fun to look back on and see how much progress you've made. And I think also when you take your secret desires and put them out on paper, it's kind of like the universe conspires in your favor. It's not really that, if we really think about it, it's just that you're owning your desires. They're just not like a vague idea. They're not a vague idea in your mind anymore. They're a real thing. And they become kind of like a direction, like setting a direction on a GPS that's just in the back of your mind and you might not realize, but every day you start making decisions, small and big decisions that are going to lead you in that direction. So if your biggest, baddest, boldest dream came true, who would you be and how would you spend your day? Simple, right? So now let's get into today's episode. The first way to boost your confidence is to put your attention out. And that's just a fancy way of saying asking questions. So let's say you're in a networking event and you're standing in a corner feeling insecure. You're in your head thinking, oh, are they going to like me? Am I dressed appropriately? I don't know what to say. Your attention is directed inwardly. And when your attention is directed inwardly, you lose some of your power. So the way to regain your power and to be more confident is to direct your attention out. And the simple way to do that is just by asking questions. So you can go up to someone and ask them, oh, I love your bag. Where did you get it? How's your week going? What have you been up to? Oh, what's that like? Tell me more about this. The questions that you ask don't really matter. The point here is to, quote unquote, break the freeze. That's a phrase I learned from the author Kasia Urbaniak. And what it essentially means is, so when you're insecure, when your attention is focused inwardly, your nervous system is likely to get activated, right? You don't feel safe in a situation. So your survival instinct turns on, fight, flight, freeze. And for many women, freezing is quite common. You know the feeling of like being a deer in the headlights when you don't really know what to say and you're just standing awkwardly and you feel kind of stuck. A way to interrupt this, to quote unquote break the freeze, is to notice, oh, okay, my attention is in. Let's bring my attention back out and just ask a question to anyone. Any question. So that's the first way to boost your confidence. And that's going to lead us to the second one, because I already hear some of you, oh, but if I ask a silly question like, what am I going to look like? I might make myself look like a fool. And that's why the second way to boost your confidence is to make peace with being seen negatively and to love yourself anyway. I have a few examples for you. So last night I went climbing. I went bouldering in a gym, and I used to be pretty good at bouldering until I fell badly and I almost broke my ankle. So I had my ankle in a cast for a while. Did a trip to Paris with my leg in a cast. That was not great with cobbled streets. Anyway, and since then I've been pretty scared. So I don't make any risky moves. And, for a while I just stopped going. And then I decided, no, I want to go back and I want to slowly but surely overcome my fear. So what I was doing last night is I told myself, okay, I'm just here for fun. I'm just here to get to know this fear inside of me. And I would climb half the wall, and then I would get down again. Half the wall and then get down again. And there was a little voice in my mind that said, oh, people are going to, think you're not giving it your all, or they're going to think that you suck, or that you're scared, or that you could have tried harder. And I just ignored that voice. I was like, yeah, people can think whatever they want. They can think I suck. They can think I'm a beginner. That's fine. I love myself anyway. I'm here for me. Another example is I often take myself out alone. I go to the cinema alone. I go at the bar alone for a glass of wine. And I highly recommend that you try doing this too. Now, when you're alone, let's say you're sitting at the bar ordering a glass of wine. You might think, oh, people are going to judge me. They're going to wonder why I'm alone. They're going to think maybe I'm a loser. I don't know what your brain's going to come up with. Your brain's going to get creative. And you have to practice being okay with others thinking whatever they want to think about you. Let's say you want to start writing a blog, but you're afraid that people are going to think your writing kind of sucks. Well, the truth is, at the beginning, your writing probably does kind of suck. And being okay with that is going to liberate you and allow you to keep showing up. And as you keep showing up, your writing is going to get better. But you first have to make peace with the idea that, yeah, when you start something new, you suck, and that's okay. Same thing with running. Last year, I decided I wanted to run, and I started with 5 minutes every day. And I thought, oh my God, my neighbors that see me going to run for 5 minutes, what are they going to think? They're going to think I just run. Like, they're going to think I'm lazy. They're going to think I could be also trying harder. See, already noticing a pattern in my mind. And I was like, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay with people thinking whatever they want to think about me. I'm doing this for me. I'm starting a blog for me. I'm writing a book for me. I'm going climbing for me. Let's say you're at a party and you go up to someone, start asking them questions, and you're worried that they might not really like you. They might not want to talk with you. You have to practice being okay with the idea that, yeah, that might be true. Someone might not be into you. Someone might prefer to talk with somebody else, and that is fine. That is fine because you love yourself anyway. And you know that some people are not your people. You know you're not for everyone. You know that some people are going to love you and some people are just not going to be bothered, and that's okay. I heard a story of someone who signed up to a course to learn about wine. And in the first class, they were asked, what's your favorite kind of wine? And everyone was, sharing those fancy answers. And this person said, my favorite kind of wine is rose wine. And everyone kind of looked at her weird, because first you say rosé, and second, most people were like coming up with regions and types of, I don't even know the words, right? I'm not fancy with my wine. I just take the nice labels, the like second cheapest bottle with the nice label. That's my trick. And this person was like totally okay with making a fool out of herself in those people's eyes. People like looking down on her because she said rose wine. She's like, I don't care. I want to learn something new. I'm here for me. I'm here to learn something new. And one last example, let's say you're starting a side business like many of my current clients are doing. Many of them, what they tell me is, but I don't really want to talk about it on social media because I'm scared I'm going to be annoying. Or maybe you've been taking photographs or you've been making drawings and you want to share them, but you don't want to seem annoying. Okay. This is like the most poisonous thought. You have to make peace with some people thinking you're annoying. Okay? Yes, some people are going to think you're annoying, but you're doing this for you and you've got to love yourself no matter what. So-and-so in their living room watching Netflix while they scroll their phone think about you sharing about your new passion. Make peace with being seen negatively. And that, my friend, is going to free you up to do whatever you want. And that's going to boost your confidence. You're not for everyone. My coach, Simone Seol, she said, if you want to attract, you also have to repel. And I always think about that. Like, if you want to attract your people to you who love you for who you are and for what you do, you are bound to also repel others. And that's okay. You can wish them well and be on your way. Like I always tell myself, the people that are not interested, they were not my people anyway. We wouldn't be friends anyway. Okay. So that was way number 2. Now, way number 3 to boost your confidence is to legitimize your desires. So many of you are scared of seeming selfish. Like, being selfish is the worst, most evil thing you can be, especially if you have been socialized as a woman. We have been taught to not be too needy, but also not be too bossy. The author that I mentioned earlier, Kasia Urbaniak, she calls this the smush. And so we are navigating in between those two things, and it's a very narrow place to be. Between, you gotta be low maintenance, but you also have to make sure you're not too much. You're not taking too much space. This is what being a quote-unquote good girl means. And if you are acting like a good girl, you are more likely to receive love. And when we were kids, that was what our brain was focused on. How can I receive love? Because we were dependent on our caregivers giving us love, taking care of ourselves. Okay. So we were just little animals, and what animals seek is safety. And you only get safety if you're accepted by the people taking care of you. So our computer of a brain is like, how do I get accepted in the tribe? I have to act a certain way. Okay. And I've been talking about women, but it's the same for men. Men also have to act a certain way. And if you don't identify as one of those two genders, you have been socialized as one of them. Okay, so that applies to you as well. You've been socialized as either a man or a woman, and it comes with unspoken rules that you have had to try to navigate in order to be accepted by your caregivers. That's your parents, but also like your family, your teachers, and that has influenced how you show up now. That has influenced how you were conditioned as a child and how you act now by default, unconsciously. And your desires might not fit into those rules. And we have to practice being able to say, you know what? This is what I want, and I'm legitimate for wanting this. Because you're basically breaking the mold. You're saying, I don't want these limitations anymore that I've grown up in. For whatever reason. When I ask people what they want out of their life, they often tell me, well, I would like to, maybe have a more flexible schedule, and if possible, like some more money, so maybe I can, go on one extra trip and hear how that's like the message underneath is, please, can I have this? If possible, please and thank you. It's like I'm trying to approach this nicely. I'm passive. I want to comply, and I want you to practice breaking out of that. And instead of being passive, being active. Saying, here's what I want. Let's say I ask you, what do you want out of life? I want this. I want a flexible schedule. I want more money. I want to be able to go on 3 trips in my year. I want this. So let's see how we can make it happen. Notice the difference. How we go from passive, asking, oh, it would be nice if, like that's the good girl approach, to active. I want this, and let's figure it out. That's assertive woman. If you don't identify as a woman, think of it as like making yourself small versus owning, claiming your authority, claiming your desires. And one thing you can do, one exercise that I had my clients do to help them legitimize their desires, is to show them that their desires are everything but selfish. Them going after what they really want is anything but selfish, is showing them the impact that it can have on a small, medium, and large scale. So grab a journal, and for the small scale impact, what you're going to do, so there's 3 things: small scale, medium scale, large scale. Each one of them have a different exercise. For the small scale impact, you're going to ask yourself, if I pursue what I really want, if I go all in towards what I really want, what will the 3 people I love the most gain? Your brain might be tempted to think short term, think like, oh, but my husband wouldn't be happy with that because it would mean for him that X, Y, and Z. I don't want you to focus on the negative. I want you to think on a higher level. What would they gain? What would the 3 people you love the most gain from you pursuing what you really want to do? One of my personal examples is, if I go all in and create the successful business that I want to create, that would allow my partner to quit his job if he wants to, and to focus on his own passions instead of feeling like he has to go to work to pay the bills and everything. Now let's move on to medium scale impact. If you go after what you really want, what are you going to be an example of, and for whom? When I wanted to through hike, part of me was like, well, this is a selfish endeavor. Until I started thinking, hold on, if I do this, I get to be an example for all the other women like me who don't see themselves as athletic. Frankly, they see themselves as like clumsy dorks that cannot do something like this hard, that cannot reach an impossible goal. I get to be an example for them of what's possible when you actually dare to believe that maybe it could work, and you overcome your fears and go and do it anyway. I'd be an example for all of these women. And I would give them permission, me doing this would give them the permission to also believe in themselves. So what do you want to be an example of? And for whom? For what group of people? Now, let's move on to large-scale impact. If everyone in the world was to follow your example, if everyone was to trust themselves and think maybe they could surprise themselves with what they are capable of, then what would happen? Well, people might be more grounded, feel more fulfilled. And then what becomes possible then? If more people feel grounded and fulfilled, what happens? They're better parents. They love their children better. Their children grow up feeling loved, and then they love in return. So there's less violence, there's less war, there's a more open, more humane society, more inclusive, calmer. People wouldn't feel the need to destroy nature for profit. They wouldn't need to start wars to prove that they're better than others. And I could go on for hours and hours, okay? But I this is just an example. I want you to do this exercise. If you go after what you really want, if you claim your desires, what impact is that going to have on a small, medium, and large scale? This is going to help you see that it's everything but selfish. It's almost the opposite. If you just keep complying and doing what you're told and doing what you think you should be doing, it's almost more selfish, because the example that you're giving to everyone who looks at you is keep yourself small, keep yourself in line. And is that really what you want to do? So that was the third way, legitimizing your desires. This is important in our work. Now, the fourth way to boost your confidence is to know your focus. So this is when you feel unsure, hesitant, overwhelmed. For example, there's a lot going on in the world, and there's a lot of causes that you could donate to. And there's always like the last crisis going on that you could participate in helping. This can be very confusing. Every time something happens somewhere in the world, you could think, oh, I should be donating, I should be doing this, I should go out and protest, I should. And it makes you feel like you're splitting yourself up in a million different directions. What you want to do when you notice this is choose your focus. This is going from passive to active again. So instead of letting the external world dictate what you do, you take the reins back and make an intentional decision. This is the way I help. No, I don't need to focus on all of these problems, because this is the way that I choose to help right now. I'm not going to spend hours worrying about climate change, for example, because I know that the way I help is I work with people who care about the environment and help them be their most courageous self. So some of my clients, they work directly in that field, and my job is to help them strengthen their confidence so that when they show up in an important meeting, where they can influence the decisions that are being made, they can stand up and speak their minds and share their brilliant ideas and have an impact. See, I know this is my place. This is how I help. And if you can't think about the ways that you help, if you can't decide, that's also important work to do. That's work that I do with my clients in Brave and Bold, and that's work you can do with me in the new year when I open Brave and Bold again, or that you can, there are other ways to do this work that you can look into. But knowing what your focus is helps you feel calm and grounded and not get lost in the overwhelm. I'm going to give you 3 more examples. there's a lot of people in my life, and back in the days, I would think about all my friends, and I was like, oh my God, like I should be a better friend, a more present friend. I haven't seen so-and-so in so long. I haven't seen so-and-so in so long. And then at one point, I just decided, okay, I sat down, and here's what I did. I divided my sheet into, I think like 4 or 5 sections. And at the top, I wrote my name. And then in the section closest to my name, I wrote down the names of the people that I wanted to prioritize, like the first tier of people that I wanted to spend the most time with, to give the most attention to. And then in the second section, that was my tier 2 people. And try to be really honest with yourself. Not like, oh, I should put this person in tier 2 because I'm probably in their tier 2. Or I should, we've been friends for a really long time. So really, no one's going to see this sheet but you. So who are the people that you want to put in tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? You can have it as many categories as you want. And then this is what you decide. You tell yourself, these are the friends I am prioritizing right now. If they're in the 4th category, it's like, oh, I might see them once in a while, but they're not my priority right now. So again, you go from passive, like seeing all of the people that you know and feeling guilty, to active. These are the people I choose to spend time with right now. Notice how I always say right now, because these things change. Okay, another example. You have lots of passion projects. You're a multi-passionate being. And you think, oh, I should be making progress of my projects. I haven't worked on this one. I haven't worked on that one. And you decide, no, this is the one thing I am working on right now. I wrote the first draft of my book, a few years ago, and I haven't worked on it again. Now, part of me could be like, oh, I should really finish this project. And I'm like, no. I did that back in the day, and now what I'm focusing on is this. This is the one thing I want to be doing right now. From passive and dictated, your internal state being dictated by external things, to choosing intentionally your focus. One last example. Your brain might go to like, oh, I should be doing more sports. Like it's important to do physical exercise. Like I haven't been doing. Okay, decide. Either, okay, I'm going to choose this sport and this is what I'm going to do. Or no, actually, this is a season in my life where I focus on making puzzles and going on walks. That's it. I have chosen. This is my focus. And choosing your focus is also going to contribute to legitimizing your desires. Okay, last way, the 5th way to boost your confidence is to practice embodying the person you want to become. So think about this confident version of yourself that you have in your mind. How do they carry themselves? How do they think? How do they feel on a daily basis? What are the kinds of habits that they have? What do they do for fun? How do they dress? How do they feel when they go to bed at night? And start small. Maybe it starts with just buying yourself a pair of pants that you deeply love. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen pictures of me in my bright rainbow colorful pants that I really love. These pants were like more expensive than the kind of pants that I usually buy, but I wear them all the fucking time. I feel like my soul is inside out when I'm wearing them. They represent the way that I used to want to see myself. That now is just my new normal. When I got those pants, I was like, oh, this is like creative professional person. Someone who takes themselves seriously, who gets shit done. That's what they represented for me. And now I wear them all the time. And this is how I see myself. Like, I get shit done. I take my work seriously. So, how can you start small? Do something different. Maybe get an object. If it's not pants, it can be something in your home that's going to represent the person you want to become? I love to ask myself sometimes when I'm flustered in a situation. Let's say I received like a negative comment on a post on Instagram. I love to ask myself, how would Oprah react in this situation? Well, first, she'd have an assistant, so she wouldn't probably see the comment. She'd have an assistant deal with that. But if she did see the comment, she'd be like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I don't have any second to waste on this because I know I'm amazing. And it helps me embody the person that I want to become. Not that I want to become Oprah, but I want to become someone who, like, I have stuff to do. I have impact to make. So I don't worry. There's a quote that I love. It's like, lions don't concern themselves with the opinions of sheep. This is exactly what I want to embody. I don't have time to waste with your shenanigans. I have more important things to do. So think about the person that you want to become and practice embodying them today. And this is very different from fake it till you make it. It's more like, how can I let go of the limiting beliefs that I've been carrying and step just a little bit more in my power? What would it look like to be more of me? To take better care of myself. Slowly but surely, you're rewiring your brain. You're creating new neural pathways. If one of your neural pathways is to, whenever someone asks you to do something, you say, oh yeah, sure, please, yes, I'm happy to do it, happy to help. That's your default programming. Then you want to practice pausing and asking yourself, okay, the person that I want to become, how would they respond in a situation like this? Oh, they might say, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. See, it's not fake it till you make it. It's being more intentional about how you show up, instead of just letting your unconscious conditioning win every time. Okay, so that's it for today. As a summary, the 5 ways to boost your confidence are: number 1, put your attention out by asking questions. So don't focus on you, focus on the other person, and it's going to help you feel at ease in the situation. Number 2, make peace with being seen negatively or, sucking because you're a beginner at something new, and loving yourself anyway, okay? I am seen negatively, I am judged by some people, I suck at this, and I love myself anyway. Number 3, legitimize your desires, okay? What you want is not selfish, or what I should say, being selfish is not bad. Being selfish can have a profound, heart-shattering impact. Number 4, know your focus. Instead of letting external events dictate where your attention should be, decide where you want to put your time, your energy, and your money. And finally, number 5, practice embodying the person that you want to become. The way they think, how they feel, and the kinds of things that they do. And sooner rather than later, this is gonna become your new normal. I've changed massively by doing this. By practicing who I want to become, I've become that. And next week, what I'm going to share is 5 habits that have changed my life, that have helped me become more of myself, okay? That have lightened up my load, that have helped me feel better and go after my goals instead of worrying about other people or what I should do or not do. Okay, so have a wonderful, wonderful week. Practice those 5 ways to boost your confidence, and don't hesitate to reach out to me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds to tell me about your insights and about what's happened in your life after trying these things. Okay, bye! You just listened to the Self-Growth Nerds podcast. Make sure to subscribe and to find me on Instagram at Self-Growth Nerds. If you want individual help developing the confidence to create a more meaningful and exciting life, visit selfgrowthnerds.com today to learn how. Finally, I want to thank my friend Etienne Galano for editing this, and I want to thank you, kind-hearted souls, for growing into your truest, most courageous selves every day and making this world a better, more beautiful place. My name is Marie, and I will talk to you next week.